Thanks, Randy, for your nice introduction. Thanks, Chief TG, for the nice reflections as well. I think it's a good moment for us to stop for a bit and think about all those good things. Look, I welcome to the 17th Annual Natural Resource Forum. So this is my first Natural Resource Forum, but definitely it's not the first one for Rio Tinto. So we are here for a while, and we are very proud to be a great partner of this event. A lot of good reflections from that. By the way, yesterday, so again, it's a great honor for me to be here. And yesterday I had a lot of good catch-ups when we finished the night. For example, I had a quick catch-up with the firefighters from Fraser Lake, which was a fantastic conversation. I saw how much energy those guys have, and also I had a quick catch-up with the Burns Lake First Nations. And despite I can speak a lot about, so I can speak Saskatchewan, for example, quite close to what should be. I think they were trying to teach me some words in their language, and that's still a big challenge for me. So I'll get there. I'll get there some stage. Please, if you have not participated in our quiz in the booth of Rio Tinto, do that. It's a great opportunity to choose one of the three great institutions that we have here in the region that we are supporting. And also, if you are successful in responding all the questions there, we can donate in your behalf $10 for one of those three institutions. That's going to be great. So I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Clay Claytonay, and thank Chief Clayton Pontenay from the Clay Claytonay for the welcome. So again, it's a great opportunity for me and my family to be here in BC. It's fantastic welcoming process, warmth that we have received there in Keynote, and I see the same here. So such a great energy everywhere. And I'd also to acknowledge all the First Nations leaders. I have had good catch-ups so far with many of you, and so government officials and community leaders and everybody that is here in the room. So thanks for that. As the new general manager for Rio Tinto's BC Works Smelter in Kitimat, I'm very proud to say that Rio Tinto has been part of the resource sector in British Columbia for over 65 years. So we are probably pioneers in this standpoint here in BC, still working on that. Okay, so today we are going to speak a little bit about Rio Tinto and our participation here in British Columbia, and so how we are ready for competitiveness as well, and what we think that we need to do here in British Columbia. So we are more than 47,000 people worldwide, 35 countries, 2,000 customers, and 37,000 suppliers. We work in all 6 continents, so basically working hard to face a lot of challenge of this market in different products that we do. So basically, Rio Tinto produces from aluminum to borates, titanium, iron ore, salts, uranium, copper, and diamonds. So basically, we are in now different markets and working to be sustainable every single day. We do believe that having partnerships and making our stakeholders so aware of what's happening with good communication close to everyone is key for our success. So it's today, if we ask where Rio Tinto is in everything that we do, we probably don't realize that we are in every single piece of equipment that we have, gadgets that we have, for example, iPads, iPhones or any kind of mobile phone, so TVs, etc. So we basically participate in every single piece of equipment that is being produced worldwide. At BC Works, we have a great operation here, and I'm very proud to be part of the team now since August. So we 65 years ago, or a little bit more than that, so we start building what we call Kemano power production, so our hydro there, and that's a great differential for us to operate. So this is one of, and I'm going to show some information about Kemano. Kemano is one of the most efficient power operations in the world. having this Kemano in one side, so this allowed us to build our smelter, which was operating there up to 2014. And in 2014, we decided to upgrade or to modernize this smelter. That's another point that I'd like to discuss as well. We believe that we are very well settled today with both plants that we have here in British Columbia to be operating here in the next 30, 40, 50, or maybe another 65 years. We produce aluminum. We have more than 1,000 people, almost 1,100 employees working with us directly. I'm speaking to so many hundreds of contractors. Our production is above 400, very close to 440,000 tons every year, so almost 500,000 tons of aluminum, which puts us as one of the biggest smelters in the world. 100% owned by Rio Tinto, and as I have already mentioned many times today, so we started in 1954, which makes us very proud. So we have a big history, which we believe we want to have a quick video here in the end. So that's basically where we are. We are spread out in a very big region here. It's more than 14 square kilometers, considering our reservoir that starts here close to Fraser Lake, Vanderhoof, and goes up to Kitimat. So we have more than one, so we close to 1,000 megawatts nameplate power generation capacity. So 10 dams in this region here, and 82 kilometers of transmission line. And as I said, we have modernized our smelter, which is so it's ready to compete for the next many years ahead. Thinking and talking about competitiveness. So we have a lot to discuss about this, about markets, investments, continuous improvements, technology, our people, partnership, environment. But so when we go and start thinking about the market, so Canada is the fourth biggest aluminum producer worldwide, and we produce more than 3 million tons. And as I said, so BC is responsible for 440,000 tons of these 3 million tons that is produced here every year. But even producing 3 million tons and being the fourth, and when you see that Russia and India, they are very close to that, so 3.1 to 3.7 million tons between the fourth and second in this market here. It's great. So, but where China is in this standpoint. So China today produces almost 12 times what Canada produces. It's 36 million tons every year. It's massive. And to compete with China today is a big challenge for us. If we consider in the last 20 years, from this left side to the right side of this slide, so we can see that so while all the world, ex-China, increased the production from 21 million tons to 29 million tons, basically 30x% of increase. And Canada was not so different, from 2.4 to 3.1 million tons, so a little bit more than 20% increase. China increased from 2.6 million tons every year in 1999 to 36.8 million tons now. So this shows the capacity of them to invest in this process, and how we can do and how can we work on that. And despite of this big challenge for us, so what we see that can be our differential, and I'm going to speak a little bit more ahead as well, is we see that it's quite complex to compete with China, because they have a lot of subsidies in this production here. But for example, China today, they are increasing capacity with 20 tons of CO2 equivalent, when we here in BC have the best and most efficient, environmentally speaking, operation worldwide. So we producing 2 tons of CO2 equivalent. That's very differentiated. So we can differentiate by doing that. So doing what's right. So unfortunately, the aluminum price in the market in the last 2 years is not progressing where we should go, and because we have a lot of products coming from China, we can see that since 2018, price of aluminum in the market is going down from 2,200 to basically now below 1,800. Again, tough market to compete, but we are very sure that we are doing the right thing to be ready for the next years. So thinking about that, and with this strategy in our hands, so Rio Tinto has invested $6 billion in the last years to modernize our operations. So you can see here in the left side, the old pot lines that we were operating up to 2014, and the new pot lines now that were started in 2015, and we are still just making some improvements to finalize everything that was considered in this modernization process. It's a state-of-the-art smelter, AP42 technology, one of the best ones in the scenario when we consider all the new smelters that we have operating today. Another great process and great investment that Rio Tinto is doing, it's in progress now, is what we call T2 project. So as I mentioned here, Kemano produces energy here very efficiently, and we were operating with only one tunnel, which is T1, this blue one that we can see that was 100% completed since 1954. And we were working since then to have a second tunnel to allow us to have, so if we have any kind of problem with tunnel 1, T2 is going to be ready to go. So we started this in 1954, stopped for a while, started again in 1990, because this is a great project and also a lot of investment needs to be done here. By the way, 600 million Canadian dollars, so we are putting this money just now to complete T2. We had still 7.6 kilometers to go, and we have concluded so far 3 kilometers, which we expect by middle of 2021 to be 100% complete. Here we can see some pictures of the proud people. We have more than 200 people, 250 people working there, and it's a huge machine. Believe me, it's a lot of technology to do this process there, and again, very proud to that. That's what we call Tulugos in Cheslara. This, by the way, I can say that Tulugos in Cheslara language. So that's a great machine. And Tulugos means a snake because it goes towards the rock and makes this roll here. Also, we are expanding our business to be prepared to compare in the market. So in the last couple of years, we have modernized our ingot machines, saws machines, and also our slab machines. Today, we have some robots doing some jobs that we considered very risky for our employees. So making this safer, cleaner, and also producing better products. And we are diversifying, producing more foundry, putting small ingots as well in North America market. And again, being prepared for the future, for this year and the next years to come, that we can produce more value-added products. Another important thing is about ELYSIS, and I'm very proud that we had this conversation this morning about this, so that we are really putting a lot of our energy to applying this technology that is going to break through the market. So if we do that today, as I said, from the 2 tons of CO2 equivalent that we produce today, even being benchmark in the market, we can go very close to zero, for not saying zero. I'm happy that Minister Roston mentioned this morning, because that's something that makes us very proud. I think we have a video for this, correct?
In 1886, something quite remarkable happened. 2 men, one in France and one in America, each came up with an identical invention, and almost simultaneously. They discovered the industrial process for making aluminum, a light, durable, and infinitely recyclable material. It would transform the very fabric of the modern world. Aluminum became a vital part of our daily lives. Today, more than 130 years later, comes a discovery just as revolutionary. There is a new way to make this miracle metal. It creates pure oxygen, and it eliminates all greenhouse gas emissions. The traditional process used to make aluminum relies on carbon-based materials. This contributes to emissions of carbon dioxide and other climate-warming gases. But this new breakthrough process eliminates the carbon. Instead, proprietary materials are used, and there's only one byproduct: oxygen. A world's first. The technology can create more aluminum in the same size smelting cell as the traditional process, and it can be installed in new facilities or retrofitted for existing ones. This innovation is being developed by ELYSIS, a new joint venture from Alcoa and Rio Tinto, two global leaders in aluminum. ELYSIS will accelerate the development of the new technology with others, including Apple and the governments of Canada and Quebec. The potential is enormous. If only Canada's existing aluminum industry made the switch, we would eliminate carbon emissions equal to 1.8 million cars and generate as much pure oxygen as a forest the size of Lake Erie. It is with tremendous pride that ELYSIS introduces carbon-free aluminum, a revolutionary process to further improve the world's most versatile and sustainable metal. A new era has dawned for the aluminum industry and for the planet. ELYSIS.
I'm very, very proud about this. So I have worked for 25 years for Alcoa, one of the partners. The other one now is 6 months, so it's great. So I can say that I have both parts in me. On me, it's great. So again, I think this is it's really a very ambitious project. We know that we still have a lot to do, but we have already made the first sale, so a few months ago, to Apple today. So Apple is partner with Alcoa and Rio Tinto in ELYSIS as well, and basically what Apple aspires is exactly to have the best, the greener material in their equipment, in their products as possible, and that's why it's coming from ELYSIS. So it's very, very visionary from our companies and from Apple as well. So a lot of work is being done in BC, and I'm very proud from everything that is happening there, but nothing would be possible if it was not our people there. So we have a great, so that's our best asset for sure. So we have, as I said, I'm very proud to be with my family in Keynote, in BC, and with all the welcoming process that I received there, it's great. And what makes me very surprised since the first time that I arrived there was to see the diversity of thinking, the diversity that we have there applied. So we have probably every single nation, so among our employees, among people that live in Keynote today. We have First Nations, so great connections with Haisla there, but also other First Nations in Keynote, and this makes me very, very, again, very proud to be part of this. As I can see, and I share some pictures with you, we have a lot of good interaction with the community, and we really want to see not only Keynote, but all the communities everywhere, so surrounding our watershed, progressing well. It's part of our mindset, is embedded in our values. We do believe that having the right partnership and do the right way, or so doing everything that should be considered right is the right way to go. So by the way, dialogue is a key point for us. So a lot for recognition, a lot of good process that we had this year, but more to come as well. We see that engagement is a key point for us to be successful here. And again, a lot of partnerships that I can say, and I should comment about some of partnerships that we have in our community, like Haisla and Rio Tinto Legacy Agreement Cultural Awareness Training. So that makes us very proud about all the connections that we are progressing with Haisla, and a good connection that we have in KVI with Haisla as well. Cheslara, so the training center annual campout, and working on a mutual beneficial agreement together. We believe that we are very close to have a good agreement with Cheslara, which is a great outcome for us. Happy to see the progress. Protocol agreements in watershed, so all the watershed engagement initiative, this is, in my opinion, the right way to go. Putting everybody's round table, so discussing what's the right way to go, and seeing the different perspective is key. And so we are also proud to be part of the Breakfast Club of Canada that feeds more than 1,000 children in our operating area, and so every morning before to go to school. So moving forward, I just put Nespresso here. Maybe making some merchandise from Nespresso, but it's on purpose. It's not our. It's not. We don't have any kind of shares in Nespresso. But that's such a great and aspirational partnership that we have with them, because so in the end of the day, they similar to what Apple is doing with Elysis, Nespresso has with Rio Tinto today. They are only our partners because we have ASI, so we have the greener way to produce aluminum, and they recognize that. And by the way, there is an agreement between Rio Tinto and Nespresso that every single pod that every person uses here and the handbags to Nespresso, they are going to clean it. And so bring the metal back to Rio Tinto, and we are going to remelt, and again, so allow that all the recycling process is there. So it's going to be a closed cycle. And again, that's the way to go. Again, that's another thing that makes me very proud. Another great thing to say is our contribution to BC. So it's one of the questions in our booth. If you want to just cheat a little bit quite quickly, so you can take this number here and use when you respond our questions there. So our contribution to the BC economy in 2019 was almost 800 million Canadian dollars. So it's massive investment with $165 million in salaries for our employees, $35 million direct annual contribution to the municipal and provincial tax base, $1.8 million in community contributions and sponsorships, and almost $600 million, including T2, direct spend in BC towards contracts and services. Again, great partnership with all the chambers, the business chambers, since they're in Vancouver, but in Kitimat, Terrace, in all cities that are surrounding us, including here, Prince George. And another thing that is great to say is our sturgeon hatchery in Vanderhoof. By the way, if you have never been there, if you have not visited, I would so invite everyone to go. It's I went there a couple of times, and every time I go is fantastic. So I can see the big fishes there, and you can see the real impact that this institutional here is doing there. So we have a hatchery basically, and but what makes me very proud is all the work to teach our children every single year. So we have a lot of schools visiting there every week basically, and it's a lot of learning process for them as it was for me. By the way, so one of the key events there is our annual process when we release all of those fishes in the Chaco River. That's something that I'd like just to spend a few seconds to make a reflection. And so where Kitimat is in the competition with the world, thinking about the carbon footprints. And we can see some numbers, how the world is settled for this. Canada, again, so if you can do something here to be very competitive in this market and clean the world, I could say, one of potential actions should bring as much production of aluminum production to Canada, because we are the best place to produce aluminum. We have basically 2 tons of CO2 equivalent when we compare with other parts of the world, like, for example, USA with 11, Asia 14, by the way, China with 17, and as I said, so with new facilities, they're investing there with 20 tons of CO2 equivalent. Australia 14, and Latin America 6, Europe 3, and so Middle East 8, Africa 13 tons of CO2 equivalent. Again, we have one of the best operations worldwide. And when I consider that, so that's a reflection that I'd like to put everybody here to think about. What can we do to show that worldwide and have a different competition? It's not fair to compete only about price. We need to compete about how we do the things, if we do the right things. And that's what, again, is the differential for Rio Tinto. It's, again, thanks for being here today and listening what I'd like to share. And I think we have a small video just to finish as well. Very quickly, 30 seconds.
Why is progress so important to us? It turns diamonds into I-dos. It's what makes copper sound like family.
So now technically your device is on. Can you tell? Oh, it's exciting!
And the reason aluminium can get you home. It's how iron ore can bring a city together. Why is progress so important to us? Because it's how our story becomes yours. Rio Tinto, pioneering progress.
Thank you all. Thank you all, and thanks for participating. Enjoy today. A lot of good things to see, and again, thanks for coming.